Hi everyone, I did a small coaster. I had some black left over from a heart that I did with some rose gold flakes. So I thought we'd come in and do a bloom with it. I have mixed up my resin and it's currently at 32, almost 33 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna put a little bit in my cup, a little extra because I'm gonna do 2 projects with this. So I'm gonna put more than I normally would. Then I'm going to put the resin in my mold. I'm going to try not to overfill it and let it walk to the edge on its own, just so it's not so deep that my white might fall. I've got little resin hanging off the side. All right. So while it's moving into that mold, let's mix up our white. Today I'm using Cast and Craft Opaque Pigment Concentrate. I think I'm going to do 8 drops and then we'll see how that looks. I don't know that I have quite 2 ounces in my cup yet, so 8 should work, but I may need maybe 2 more. We'll see. Yeah, it takes me forever. I've been fooling around. That's why my resin got so warm. So I do want to move quickly because my next project, the mold, is a little bit bigger. I'm up to 5 drops. I should just cut the lid off of it and pour it into another dropper bottle, right? Come on, last drop, get out of here. All right. But I'm almost done with this bottle. I have a new bottle and I noticed their design is a little different. So I'm hoping it's a little different so that it comes out easier. This feels really warm. Hope not too warm, because you know if it gets too warm, your bloom doesn't bloom. The resin's already cooked. All right. So I am just using today black alcohol ink from Let's Resin. I've never made it. I've done black for the bloom, but I've never used black alcohol ink. So I thought, oh, let's try something a little different. I cut too much off the top though, so it comes out a little weird. That's okay. All right. I don't think I'm gonna put anything in the center right now. I do have some bits and bobs and some more gold flakes. I was gonna mix a little resin with it and use this for my center. The flakes will break down into smaller bits. I don't want them too small though. I want to be able to see them. I think that looks pretty good. All right, doesn't look like I put enough black alcohol ink, but I don't want to put another drop because sometimes that will mess me up. So I think I'm just gonna do a swirly cue. Try to mix it. Let's do a swirly cue, right? All right. Now I do have a piping bag ready because I am gonna use a piping bag, especially for my next project. So let's get it in there. All right. Now I don't want to use too much of the spacing here. I want to try to make a smaller bloom. I always say that and my blooms end up being big. I get carried away. Another line here, another line there. All right. Let's snip the tip off, just a tiny tip. All right, so I think for this, I'm gonna move it a little closer to me. I'm going to do my little squirrely line bloom. I'm already going bigger than I wanted to, but that's okay. I don't think I mixed my white as well. I don't know if you could see the little strings of white. Oops. All right. Now, I'm gonna take my dotting tool and I think I'm gonna do some innies. I moved the mold so it's like right in the light, so I'm having a hard time seeing. All right, and then I'm gonna do a little swirl, not too much. And then maybe a little outs on those bigger ones. I don't know, that might have been too much. All right, so we have our little bits and bobs. I made way too much. I don't need that much for this center. I'm gonna stand up so I can see. Try to dunk it right in the center there. I love these gold flakes. They're so pretty. All right. As I'm standing up here, I'm just making sure, hopefully my bloom is in the middle. At this point, I could add more petals on if I'm a little worried about it. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm actually going to go close that up a bit. You know me, like I said, I don't leave things alone. And I just have to keep going. Well, it's going to be a big bloom, isn't it? That's all right. I'm really going to leave it alone now. All right, we will come back when I back it, unless I decide just to do a black with the rose gold in it. We'll see. All right, we're back. I was looking at this and I think the black may be too green. So I thought, well, what could we do to pull out some of that rose gold and maybe not make it look so black? So I was gonna try, it's not quite hardened. So it's been about, I don't know, 5 hours in a kind of warm room. It's about 75 in here. So I thought, well, what can I do to try to add more of the sparkly? And I thought, well, I can just try to drop some on, which is going to be kind of tricky because my resin isn't completely set, so it's a little sticky. But it's okay if some of it gets caught behind the black. That makes sense. So this is going to be much harder than I thought it was, but that's okay. We'll give it a go. Trying to get more of it off there. Trying to also crunch it up so it's not so big. You see I dropped some big pieces on here. Don't really want the big pieces. All right, where do we need some more? Trying not to really touch the resin. It's too big. How much more do we need? Trying not to overdo it because we're also going to do a copper backing that I think will match with this. You know, I like to just go crazy every once in a while and do things that I don't know are going to work. This is being a little bit trickier than I thought it would. That's okay. I don't think we need too much more. Oops, as I'm getting it all over this, but I need to replace my mat anyway. I don't know if you've ever tried to get these little pieces off of the mat. They stick right to it. Makes it really tricky. All right. Let's see if I can get just a tad more. Just need a little bit more, I think. Now, with my gloves on, so I don't get fingerprints, even though I was just scratching this with the tweezers, I'm just gonna go and try to stick it down. And I'm doing this because I don't want it to come up when I pour the resin on there. So I'm just trying to make sure all the pieces that I laid down are stuck. All right. Well, it looks okay so far, right? We will see. I see some pieces. I'm looking at it from this side and also trying to get this. All right. I'm looking at it to make sure I get any stickers up. Push down. All right. So now my other thing that I'm going to do is I am mixing up a little bit of mica powder and resin. I'm using a good bit because I want it to be a little bit heavier. Hopefully this is not too bright, but it looks like it's a little bit darker than I want. Let me see if I have something I can put in here to maybe make it a little lighter. You know what? I'm just going to use it. All right. So first, I'm just going to put some clear resin down. I have to be careful because I don't have a lot of room to do this in this mold. Then I'm going to put my mica powder down. Hopefully push it right to the edge. Looks like I made a little too much. All right. I don't really have a little spot left to do just a little push without it going over. But we'll give it a little bit. All right. Not quite centered, but I think that will work for what I'm going for. And then I'm just going to let this sit and pray that something cool happens. Hopefully the color that I chose will pull from that black, make it not so green. We will see. All right, time to see how this worked out. I did another pour that I didn't like at all. I'm hoping this one came out better. We will see whether my ideas for colors are right. Sometimes I'm completely off. Sometimes it works out. Oh, I think this is good. I think this is a winner. I really like that. What do you think?